Working in the federal election. Elections Canada usually hires 250,000 election workers during every general election to ensure it runs smoothly and fairly. We know that election workers are the backbone of Canada's democracy. We need to ensure that we have enough people to make it happen. Why work at a federal election? Get paid to do it, to work at a federal election and attend training session. Stay safe while working. Elections Canada is committed to protecting the health and safety of all its election workers. Help support Canada's democracy. When you work at a federal election, you have a chance to make voting more welcoming and accessible to your community. By being a friendly face at the polling station or Elections Canada office, you help other people feel comfortable and confident when they vote. An opportunity to meet new people. You will meet your coworkers and people in your community. And you get to learn new skills by working and gaining more experience and skills that can add to your resume. Who can work at a federal election? You can work at a federal election if you're a Canadian citizen, you are at least 16 years old, you agree to non-partisan while working at the federal election. There are many different jobs available depending on where and when you want to work. There are 15 different roles. You can work at Elections Canada office, a polling station. For the jobs in Elections Canada, through these 15 different roles, each job is about getting the election organized ahead of time so that people can register to vote and vote. Longer time commitment, your job could start several weeks before election day. Elections Canada office will be open between 7.5 and 12 hours each day during the election. Health and safety measures will be in place at all Election Canada offices. What kind of jobs are available at the polling stations? There are 4 different roles. Each job is about helping people vote or register to vote. Shorter time commitment, your job will take place on election day or any of the 4 advanced polling days, or both. Advanced polling day starts 10 days before election day. The polling station is open for 12 hours on election day and 12 hours per day on advanced voting polling days. But poll workers may work up to 14 hours during most or more during those days. Health and safety measures will be in place at all polling stations. What kind of jobs are available? Deputy Returning Officer. Make sure that all electors are able to cast their ballot in an orderly way. Deputy Returning Officer will be required to set up, open, and close several polling stations according to the instructions for safe setup and service. Deputy Returning Officer at advanced polls will be required to open their polling stations on 4 separate days and count the ballots on election day. The next one is Central Poll Supervisor. The Central Poll Supervisor makes sure that all electors are able to cast their ballot in an orderly way and that election officers carry out their work according to established procedures. Central Poll Office Supervisor is a liaison between the registration officer and election day. They also quickly perform quality control checks to ensure the integrity of the vote and report to registered officer and incidents that occurred at the polling space. Registration officer sets up the registration desk and prepares the polling in place. Registration officer pre-fills registration certificates, correction certificates, and oath of resident certificates that may request to see elector identification. Information officer is responsible for providing information service at central polling office. The information officer works with the deputy returning officer, poll clerk, and registration officer and works closely with central poll supervisor to make sure that electors are able to cast their votes effectively, efficiently, and safely. Information officer, as election officer, may not participate in political activities on election day. Worried about pandemic, working during the pandemic, Election Canada remains committed to maintaining integrity of our electoral process and protecting the health and safety of all its participants. This includes electors, election workers, as well as candidates and their teams. Elections Canada understands your concerns and has taken the necessary precautions to keep you safe. We will provide you with personal protective equipment and make sure that physical distancing measures are in place. To apply at polling stations, you will need to fill out an online form at elections.ca. Note that most jobs are filled during the election period. This means application is active and available online right now. You have that opportunity to apply for any electoral district where you'd like to work. The applicant does not have to reside inside the electoral district where they work. They can choose at the time of the application. In your application, you'll be asked to complete your contact information, your interests and availability from a list of positions and working days, and asked to describe any information, experience, and accessibility needs. How does training work? You get paid to attend the training sessions. If you're worried about not knowing much about an election, they can train you and pay you for it through training. Every election worker who works at a polling station will get 3 hours of training, some in person and some may be virtual. They will explain your job, and for some positions, you will practice with actual election materials so that you know exactly what you need to do. There will always be people who are ready to help and support you. They will train all polling station election workers before they start to work. What to expect when you work at a federal election? There are many different types of election worker, but no matter your role, you can expect to be paid for working at a federal election and attending online training session. You will be provided a safe workspace and with health and safety measures in place. A sense of satisfaction in knowing you are contributing to the health of your democracy in your community. You could potentially work long shifts and busy days depending on where you work. Typically busy work environment. There's a lot of support from your team members. What's really important is to show up on time. So from the last federal election, there were some issues with trained election workers not showing up for their shifts, as well as not enough people applying for work in some ridings. Roughly 10,000 trained workers did not show up their assigned polling station. There has been no show, could have a big impact on electors, especially in cases where advance notice was not given to the returning officers. When you don't show up for your shifts, it means it may be difficult to open the polls, which makes it harder for people to vote. If there are not enough workers, a polling station will not open. It's really important to Honor your commitment as an election worker. Your community is counting on you. These are some useful resources on Inspire Democracy website. And you can visit inspiredemocracy.ca and Election Canada for all your resources.